This is the United States of America. It is one of the most powerful empires in human history. But if you look at the other great empires of the past, you notice something. None of them were this isolated from the rest of the world. America sits alone. And yet, it exerts a level of control over the globe that no other empire ever has. Since 1890, it has been the world's #1 economy. The numbers are staggering. With only 5% of the global population, this single nation controls nearly 30% of the world's wealth and resources. Its share of global manufacturing sits at around 20%. And when we talk about the muscle behind the money, military spending, America accounts for roughly 40% of the entire world's total expenditure. But there is a question that needs to be asked. How is this even possible? The biggest secret factor isn't politics or ideology, it is geography. You see, the geography of North America is not just lucky, it is gifted. It was almost inevitable that the civilization settling here would eventually become a world superpower. And the hero of this story is a river, specifically the Mississippi River system. Starting from Lake Itasca and winding its way down to the Gulf of Mexico, this is North America's second longest river and the fourth longest in the world. But it doesn't work alone. It connects to roughly 30 other rivers and lakes. Even the Missouri River, the largest in North America, eventually feeds into it. This entire river system gave America a massive economic and strategic advantage. It connects 31 states through a continuous navigable waterway that stretches for a total length of 4,000 kilometers. And this waterway? It is the foundation of American global power. The true strength of the Mississippi isn't just its length or its width, it is its navigability. The water flow and the channel width are so perfect that ships of every kind can travel through it without interruption. If a ship enters from the Gulf of Mexico, it can travel directly to America's northern border. For any country, a river like this is a game changer for generating economic activity. That's because water transport isn't just easier than rail or road, it is 10 to 30 times cheaper. This is why factories and agricultural farms line the banks of the Mississippi. They can export their products to the rest of the world easily and at a much lower cost. This single river has generated nearly 1.2 million jobs in the region. And because this river connects to so many others, many American cities automatically become port cities. From there, goods move on ships straight to the global market. But this unmatched river system offers something else. It provides the world's most fertile irrigation land. The climate on the west side is hot and dry, which is perfect for wheat production. On the east side, the humidity is ideal for corn and soybeans. The result is dominance. America is the world's #1 corn producer, the second largest soybean producer, and the fourth largest wheat producer. And 92% of its agricultural exports depend entirely on this river system. The numbers tell the story. The Mississippi River generates approximately $345 billion in trade every year. Roughly 630 million tons of cargo pass through it. If there is another river in the world on this level, it is China's Yangtze River. It is the third longest river in the world, and China's GDP depends on it for 40% of its value. Every year, 2.6 billion tons of cargo pass through its waters. Now you can imagine just how critical rivers are to the economic power of any country. And it is no surprise that the world's first and second largest economies are heavily dependent on them. Another critical factor for any country's economic growth is its coastline. And in this arena, America holds a huge advantage. It possesses the world's 8th largest coastline, stretching roughly 20,000 kilometers. That is nearly 5 times larger than the coastline of the entire African continent. But there is a difference. Africa's coast is riddled with islands and natural barriers that block shipping routes. The American coastline, however, is mostly open and accessible. And the biggest asset, America has coastline along both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. This means it has direct trade routes to Asia on one side and Europe and Africa on the other. It can move goods without paying a single toll, fee, or tax to a third country. This geographical advantage is what makes it unique among all the superpowers in history. If we zoom out on the map, America sits far away from the rest of the world, flanked by deep, vast oceans. To the west, the Atlantic Ocean creates a 5,000-kilometer barrier between it and Europe and Africa. To the east, the Pacific Ocean stretches approximately 10,000 kilometers toward Asia. That distance means one thing. For any country, launching a direct attack on America has been almost impossible. To understand just how difficult a sea-based attack is, look at the Germany-UK scenario in 1940. Even after conquering Central Europe, Hitler canceled his plan to attack the UK. That is simply because his army was not confident in crossing the English Channel, which is only 33 kilometers wide.
Now think about that. America is thousands of kilometers away from the rest of the world, and that is why, for the last 200 years, no country has been able to directly invade it. Only during the Second World War did Japan cross the Pacific Ocean to attack the American fleet stationed at Pearl Harbor, and even that remained limited to a naval base. This is the reason that for 2 centuries, America has been safe from any foreign invasion. Yes, in today's time, countries like North Korea and Russia possess such advanced missiles and weapon systems that can target America, but that is a completely different geopolitical game. But when discussing America's weakness, it is necessary to mention a strategic vulnerability of the Mississippi River, and that is Cuba. You see, all ships coming and going via the Mississippi River first come into the Gulf of Mexico, and then from here they exit into the Atlantic Ocean. But right in the path of this route lies Cuba. If Cuba were to somehow block this point, it could deal a direct, massive blow to the American economy.
Cuba might not be able to do this on its own strength, but if another world power uses Cuba, the situation could be different. In the 1960s, this almost happened. The Soviet Union started deploying nuclear missiles and troops in Cuba. This was the crisis after which the USA directly intervened in Cuba, destabilized its government, and then imposed such sanctions on it that are still in force today, 60 years later. The reason is clear. America cannot take the risk that a developed Cuba directly threatens it, or that it plays into the hands of a global power to choke its vital trade routes, because the economic results of such a scenario would be disastrous for America. But geography is just one of America's many natural advantages. The United States is also the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas. These are the 2 energy sources that power the modern world in the 21st century, and America has absolute control over them. The country sits on such massive energy reserves within its own borders that it does not need to rely on any foreign nation for its energy needs. If the OPEC countries decided to band together and boycott America, it wouldn't make much of a difference. That is because 90% of its gas and oil needs are met by domestic production or imports from Canada. Along with energy, this country is incredibly self-sufficient in food security. It produces so much wheat, corn, and soybeans that it hasn't faced a food shortage in the last 100 years. Beyond that, America owns the world's 5th largest gold reserves and the 4th largest iron ore reserves. It all adds up to a clear picture. Natural resources, geography, in the strategic planning of the Founding Fathers 200 years ago. These 3 factors combined to create the global superpower we see today. Just think about it. America is naturally gifted to a degree that is truly unbelievable. In the last 100 years, it has faced no major threat from an external enemy, nor has it faced a shortage of any resource. That is why I said at the beginning, it was natural that any civilization settling in this region would eventually become a global power. Yes, at a societal and cultural level, conditions in America are not perfect. Problems like violence, drugs, racism, and unemployment are constantly rising.
But at an economic level, America still has the capacity to go a long way. The reason is clear. The geopolitical and economic head start its leadership provided 200 years ago is not easy to reverse. And when it comes to geographic advantages, the combination of strategic position and natural resources America possesses is something hardly any other country in the world can match. If you found this analysis helpful and want to understand the hidden maps that shape our world, from the Mississippi to the Yangtze, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And let me know in the comments, do you think geography is still destiny in the modern age, or can technology finally overcome the map? I'll see you in the next one.